Welcome everyone to Let's Rock. I'm your host Alex Lozano, and I am here with my good friend, to me one of the most amazing guitar players in the world. He's an amazing producer, world-class producer. He also messes around with the flute. I'd say, a bamboo flute actually, and we're just going to do a deep dive with this fine gentleman. There's not a style of guitar he can play. How are you doing, Eric?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Good, man. It's good to have you here. So, real quick, I met Eric over the phone about 30 years ago when I put on a guitar contest at Millennium called the Guitar Master Series, and we have since become friends. Later on, we'll talk about a song that he produced for me about an exotic dancer. That was a long time ago, but he's done a bunch of amazing stuff, and we're going to do a deep dive with this great guy. First off, I have a few sponsors that I want to thank real quick. Kevin from Music News. Hold on here, I have this here now, I lost it. Okay, all right. Big shout outs from a new sponsor, T-Bass Music, Travis Bashman. This guy is amazing. I've only met him just less than a week ago, and he has a song called Trump is on the Way. It's all over the internet. He's a big Trump fan, and and there's nothing wrong with that. It's all good. But yeah, he's an amazing singer. I also want to thank my new sponsors, Genicol. Okay, that is ginseng infused whiskey. Okay, this is about to hit Texas like a ton of bricks. Also, I want to give a shout out to my other sponsor, Eric Moan. He is half owner of X Golf Katy. Just right down the road from us. It's an amazing place. The food is great. Just doing a whole bunch of wonderful things. August the 10th, tomorrow, Sunday, Bill Manspeaker of the famous band Green Jelly. You know, they used to be called Green Jello, but they got sued, had to change it to Green Jelly. But they're celebrating 30 years of Three Little Pigs. I also want to thank Kevin Wildman over at Music News for celebrating almost 50 years of supporting local music. Our friend Jay Lamsremy, our little brother, we love you, Jay. We hope you chime in, and just all of the people that support local music, man, we really, really, really do appreciate it. And we're gonna go in, let him do a few pieces of music, ask a few questions, and then he's gonna play some flute for us, and then some more guitar, and it's just gonna be a deep dive with my good friend Erick Avinger. So, Eric, my first question for you, are you ready?
I don't know.
Here's a drum roll. I even asked him earlier, do you want to look at the question? No. I want to keep me on my toes. So they're all really great questions. And as always, my sound engineer, my everything, my military grade girl, Kimberly, I love you. You're amazing. Thank you for all that you do for me. Yeah, we love you. Everybody loves you, baby. So here we go. For those who may not know you yet, how would you describe yourself as a musician in just a few words? How would you introduce yourself?
Oh God, that's the hardest question.
Oh no, it is the first one. Lord. Yeah. We got 21. We got 20 more.
Well, first is the easy one. It's like I would describe myself as somebody who's been doing it for a really long time.
Right. It's not his first rodeo, is what he's saying. So yeah, he's been on the scene a long time, big time.
I'm people said that I play in multiple genres, but that my music actually isn't a part of any genre. So, maybe people think I just do what the hell I want to do, and I don't care what anybody else is doing, and I march to the beat of my own drum or something like that. I don't know about all that.
But if he does let it march to the beat of a drummer, it's got to be an exceptional drummer.
But I've chased after whatever music that has come my way that I thought was beautiful. I just chase after it,
Okay, question number 2. What's your earliest memory of falling in love with music? When you started out, what was your big dream for your music?
I don't remember not loving music because I was raised in a musical family. So that's
Mom and Dad.
So I loved it, but I didn't know I loved it. It was just like always was there.
And I believe your mother was a singer.
Yes, both my parents had music degrees, and my mother was a singer and an artist also. My father was a composer and composed for orchestral and for voice and for instrumental things.
Yeah, we got some real good stuff to talk about. His father's work into classical music. He's written a concerto, and we'll talk more about that here a bit later.
Well, let me finish the
Sure.
question. It's like, I always just took it for granted, but I was never drawn to want to play classical music. It was all classical music. It was like, they weren't giving us lessons, and we didn't have an instrument. I played violin briefly when I was like 8 or something like that, and I really didn't like it.
Right.
Well, I had a bad instrument. Maybe that that was part of it.
Right.
But when
you didn't have a Stradivarius?
No, but I might as well go ahead and date myself. When I was like around 12 and Jimi Hendrix came around and that whole thing exploded, all that kind of music and the counterculture and all that. I was like, that's for me.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, the guitar.
Your eyes got as big as half dollars.
And my parents were, no way. And I was like, oh yeah, way, so.
The rebel. Here comes the rebel.
They thought I was a rebel. It's like, no, I'm not rebelling. I'm moving toward what I want to do, And it was just an awful thing for a while, and my father was convinced there was something wrong with me, and so he would take me to psychiatrists and stuff, and the psychiatrists would all tell him the same thing, then he'd get angry and take me to another one. They'd say, well, he knows what he wants to do, we don't understand why you can't be supportive of him. Well, they didn't understand, that if you're a classical musician, you don't want your kid playing rock and roll and blues, I guess.
Right.
I mean, we never really talked about it. Why was he so against it exactly? I never really.
Did he ever tell you, or he just gave you that look like you should be play classical, son?
We never talked about it, but for a period of time, I thought I wanted to go to music school.
Right.
And I got like 3 semesters in studying with a really fine guitar teacher who had studied with Pat Metheny, which is like I just stumbled right into that.
Do you remember your teacher's name?
Marty Crum, and he's Marty Crum. He's in Nashville, still working and playing. Although he said he doesn't teach anymore, which is too bad. He was great. But my dad found out I was just studying jazz, and not classical music, cut me off right away, so.
There went the classical gravy train right there.
There went the family finance music.
Right. Your funding had it now you had to go make some money and buy your own stuff.
So I've supported myself just teaching lessons, and at the time back, in Houston, they had a thing that came out on me at a rag called Houston Public News. That used to be a great.
I remember that. Right.
And some reviewer in there said, talking about me, said Erick Avinger taught everybody in town how to play guitar. And I thought, well, I had about 1,000 students. I guess I probably did.
Yeah, right. Like seriously, like you're like a teaching Jedi.
Because I'd studied with Martin, who studied with Pat Metheny, and so it's like, oh, well, here's how the fingerboard works, and here's your chords, and here's how they are, and here's the scales. Presto, here it is. Like, wow, and nobody in town at that time really had that information,
Yeah.
And so I just I had like a monopoly on it.
Yeah, you were the introduction to that. So.
Yeah, and also the guitar was so popular back then. Everybody wanted to play the guitar, and guitar music it's like the most popular instrument ever, and it's not like that anymore, like it was,
Well, this question I've got next for you is one that me and Kim talked about. It says, I don't know the exact answer what he's going to give, but I have a good idea. So let's go ahead and get this one out of the way.
Okay, try me.
Because you kind of told me a while back, but maybe you did or didn't. Here we go. Who were some of your biggest musical influences growing up, in no particular order?
Yeah, okay, I'll have to demarcate them and put them in separate stacks, So coming up, Bach, lots and lots of Bach.
I told you. I didn't say Beethoven or Bach or classical. Boom.
And the modern 20th century composers, like the French composers Debussy, Ravel, the Russian composers Stravinsky, Shostakovich, Prokofiev, they were big in the family, and lots of orchestral music, and all instrumental orchestral music really was what, and the stuff that I love. But I love my dad's music the most.
Wow.
The music that he wrote was like, oh yeah, that's the best, So my dad was my biggest influence.
He was like a music hero. I mean, pretty much.
But then when the electric guitar thing came around, it was like, oh well, Cream, and Jimi Hendrix. And
Jeff Beck,
Leslie West. I mean, all the great guitarists. Dwayne Allman. I love the Allman Brothers.
We just talked about him with the big hands. He just passed a few years ago.
Alan Holdsworth. Yeah, I didn't find out about him until much later. He was much later than the early stuff. And my comment on that is like, if you really look at all the greatest guitarists who were the innovators, who invented everything, they all all that music happened in a 4-year period from 1967 to 1971. And every bit of guitar playing and rock music since then is derivative of those 4 years.
Right. Wow.
And so that's what I was into. It was just exploding everywhere.
Right.
Deep Purple and Richie Blackmore.
Oh.
And yeah, we loved all that stuff.
Oh, my God. There's a matter of fact, we just saw a Deep Purple tribute band. Big shout out to Burn. They got it down, bro. Highway Star, all of that stuff. So I got so carried away with myself, which I'm kind of known to do. I told him this already before, so we're going to do a few questions and then plan whatever. So I just got so pumped with these questions. I want to kind of separate him and spare. So he's going to play a little music for you. I'm going to step out of the frame so we can make it all about my boy Erick Avinger.
Oh, you can stay here, man.
But with that being said, here in a little bit, he's going to play. He plays flute, but not just any flute. He doesn't play steel flute. He doesn't play wood. It's got to be bamboo. You'll hear an amazing bamboo flute player who is also, and we'll talk more about that as we're going into this deep dive with Erick Avinger. Just stay tuned, and we'll be back. Yeah, man. Awesome. That sounded great, brother. All right. Woo! Man, geez, I just sit there and wonder and just, well, it'd take me 2 lifetimes to play that good. But,
I have no idea what that just was.
right, he was just going off on everybody. So we're going to ask a few more questions, and we're going to let him go into another jam. He's got all different things he can play. It's going to be amazing. So, when did you first decide that music from a hobby to a serious career path?
I got my heart broken by this woman that I thought I, was so in love with, and I guess I was. And man, I've never been so miserable in my life. And I'd gone on some little camping trip, and I hadn't been playing. I'd learned rock guitar early on. Mm-hmm. I learned all the Allman Brothers stuff, and I learned the Cream, and I learned the Hendrix, and I could play all that stuff when I was 14, 15 years old. Right. But I hadn't been playing for a while, and I thought, well, I guess I'll have to go to school. And the rock scene was dead back then; it had vanished, right?
Right.
And you had disco, and all this stuff was going on. It's before Stevie Ray brought the guitar back.
Right.
But there was this thing where it's like, wow, there's no gigs, there's no bands, nobody's playing. There wasn't. I didn't have any opportunity to do anything, where I was at. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just be a lawyer or go back to school or something like that. It's like, you're kind of lost. I guess I got to do something.
Erick Avinger, attorney at law.
Oh, it would have been great.
Got it. You would
It
have.
would have been great, but I was so devastated with this thing. And what I thought at the time was like, wow, so if you play by the rules, it's like, yeah, you go to school, you get some kind of degree, and then I can be a lawyer, and then you marry the girl you love, and then you blah, 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 blah. It's just like, and when she dumped me for someone else, I'm like, what a ripoff, It's like,
what a betrayal.
None of that stuff, play by, and so I went on this camping trip with a friend of mine that felt sorry for me, and his girlfriend of his, because I was so devastated. I was a brat, man. I mean, I really had emotional problems when I was young, man. Oh, I was not taking it well. And after that camping trip, we went into town, and she took us to this little club called, what was it? It wasn't Carnaby's or Damien's. That's where Eric Johnson used to play back in those places. Theodore's, it was called. And it was this great little club. It was half outdoors with all kinds of plants everywhere and a little stage and
a little indoor.
And they had live jazz in there. I'd never heard live jazz before. And it was Bob Henshin, who's a fabulous pianist, and he would have been in his 20s then, you know. And these guys are still around, but I sat there and got myself good and drunk and listened to that jazz, and I was just like,
wait a minute.
It was like, fuck it, man. I'm going to be a musician. Fuck all this crap, and so I made that decision right then. I was going to play jazz. I was going to go all the way. And I sold my car the next week and bought a Fender Rhodes electric piano and started teaching myself how to play chords and music and stuff like that. I just went crazy. I was totally into it.
So, with that being said, question number 5. You kind of answered that and rolled into this one, but I'll go ahead and tell you anyway because some of these are wild stuff. So, you've been into music for a long time. What was that aha moment that you knew you had to be a musician?
That was it.
That was it. Okay, that's what I thought. I could have skipped that one. All right, let's go to number 6 here. I like this one. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced in your early days as a musician?
Oh, when I was trying to get established, I tried to get some students, and my dad, of course, hated me still. He hated music, he hated what I wanted to play, and he hated the guitar, and he hated jazz, and it was really miserable. I had to get out of the house, man. It was terrible, And
you have your guitar and amp, and you're gone.
And I'm just practicing all the time, because I'd studied already with that great guitar teacher. So I just every day I get up and just learn tunes and practice. And so I finally ended up getting like a little teaching gig somewhere at this crummy little Musicville is what it was called, I think, And I had like 8-year-old students, and I used to make them cry and stuff, and it was really hard,
Oh, you were like that guy, the drum guy. What was he played it?
No, not really. They didn't all cry. Some of them would cry, but I had this little 8-year-old girl who just she was just practiced really hard. Her little hands they just loved me, so it was great. But I met this, one of my students there was a guitar teacher himself, and he heard that I was in town. There was this guy that knew, theory and music and jazz and all that.
Yeah.
And he came and stayed with me for about half a year or so. And it was really great. So I thought, well, yeah, I could be a teacher's teacher, And he had 2 full loads at 2 different music school stores. I mean, he was teaching like, I don't know how many hours.
Crazy.
He said, this is crazy. He says, you want one of my loads? He says, I'll just give them to you. So
Wow.
he gives me 40 students.
Wow.
Just like that overnight. And the same week I got a call from Danny Ward, who was a successful tuxedo society musician in town, playing all the big dollar, rich people.
Big gigs.
And with the Ed Gerlach Orchestra, And he said, and he called and said, Ed Gerlach's looking for a guitar player. Bang! Next thing I knew, I had 30 gigs every December, playing
the holidays.
Next thing you know, I was playing the Houston Pops. I was doing like the Houston Symphony Orchestra gigs.
We read about that.
And I was teaching full time, and I quit that crummy music store. And then
You're moving on up like the Jeffersons.
yeah. And after only about a year of that, I got a call from Alvin Community College, and they said, "Well, we've got this program where we teach class guitar in maximum security prison. You want the gig?" I said, "Sure." So I went 3 days a week into, and you walk in, and the gate, the bars closed behind you, and actually the guards were more scarier than the prisoners
Lord.
were, but and then I ended up teaching on the campus doing that, and but that's a long, to get back to what your question was.
Right.
What was the hardest part of it? It was like I was getting all those kinds of calls to do gigs, and play certain gigs, but in the jazz world, with good players, with the best players, they had nothing but disrespect for me. It was just awful. It was awful.
Why? Because you were some kind of hybrid?
Well, because I didn't really play that well yet. I mean, I played well enough to do those gigs, and I could play rock. That's what.
Oh, they were pissed off because you got the gigs and they didn't.
No. What it meant is most of those kind of gigs, when you get hired, it's not for playing fancy chords. It's because you can go. I can play that. Oh yeah, right. But for playing like jazz and stuff, none of them thought I'd make it. None of them thought I'd ever be able to play.
Little do they know.
Age, And so that was
their failure.
That was really hard, but I just kept at it, and one thing after another happened, and I kept practicing and stealing stuff off records and learning this and trying it out on the gig and just trying to.
You're all over the place, brother. Back in the same.
And then what happened is one day, I don't know how it happened. One day I just got good. I got better at it.
Yeah.
And I remember when it happened. I was living in Austin playing with Kelly Gray. She had kind of a dance band back then. She's a fabulous singer, genius singer.
Was that the one that you wanted to get on the radio show a while back? And do a Christmas?
No, Kelly has passed. But we played a few jazz songs every night on that gig. We played all different clubs in Austin and stuff. And every time they play those jazz songs, I'd try out all my stuff I was working on. And so I kind of
because it's like practice. It was like a perfect place for you to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And we were playing 4 or 5 nights a week at least. Doing that. So I went by to sit in with some guys that I knew there who were from Houston. There was a Todd Vulo who was a really great, well-known, great jazz guitarist.
Right.
And they said,
What was his name again?
Todd Vulo, Vullo.
I think I might have heard of him.
Really world-class jazz guitarist. And I'm there, and he said, "Oh yeah, you want to sit in?" And they thought I sucked. I mean, everybody thought.
There's another Houston guy that I know you know this guy. I've seen him play once. Damn good. He's got a cool last name. Reminds me of a hot boot there, but his name is Mike Wheeler.
Oh yeah, Mike's fantastic.
Is he a jazz player?
Oh
too?
yeah, he can play anything. He can play anything. In fact, when I left Houston to go to play with Kelly Gray in Austin, I gave all my gigs to Mike Wheeler. So he started working the big band gigs and then Danny Ward gigs and stuff
I know
like
some
that.
jazz people.
Yeah, that's another thing. Well, don't let me get too far off. I went into this little club. What's the name of that place? A little French restaurant that had like a little jazz gig. Oh, you want to sit in? It's like, okay. And I had my little Les Paul I was playing back then with some flat one strings on it. And I plugged that thing in, and I don't know what happened. They called some tune, and I knew the tune. And I started playing, man, and I just started playing. I was just
You went off.
I was just like, it's like,
you're making
and they
the move, bro.
their
Stop.
jaws, and their jaws just dropped. They went, what? Like, what happened to you? Because they all thought
They
I
just knew you
sucked.
were rock. No, they just knew you were straight up rock blue guitar guy, not the jazz cat.
No, they just all thought I sucked, I mean, I was good enough to play crappy gigs, but it's like after that, man, everything started changing really fast because the word travels when somebody can play. When
Sure.
a new person on the scene all of a
Or
sudden.
somebody's got it going on. Everybody wants to attach themselves to that star.
Well, here's question number 7, and this so far is definitely one of my favorite ones. So after we do this song, Erick's going to play a little bit more for us, throw a little something in there. So, what's the wildest or the most unexpected thing that has happened to you because of music? The wildest and most unexpected thing.
I found the spiritual path.
Oh, okay.
And
Not necessarily God-like or...
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay, right, okay.
whatever you want to call that.
Sure.
That and in the top tier of the jazz world in jazz history, there's a few players, but especially there's a man named John Coltrane, who most people have heard of.
Yeah.
And John Coltrane had come through addiction and gotten over that, and
To
he
become successful.
and he became successful, and just went through weirdest chords all the time. He could just blow through them. Now my chops aren't up right now, or else I'd demonstrate for you. It's like I used to be able to do that. Yeah, but he got really interested in taking jazz to another level. Ended up going to India and hanging out with Ravi Shankar. And, and he married this new wife, Alice Coltrane, who was into Advaita Vedanta and Indian mysticism and stuff like that. But the idea is that he was always pushing forward in music, and then when
He was never looking
when
back.
he completely mastered the music, the only place to still push forward was more truth and more beauty and more consciousness and more. So it's philosophy at that point, where the point of life is to pursue truth and goodness and beauty.
And you know what? Since
so that was surprising to me.
right. Well, since really, because I've only known you for about 30 years, and we've only kind of gotten tight over the last 10, 15 years or whatever. I'm not keeping time. I don't do that. But what I've always felt from your playing is, like you said, for me it wasn't more like a spiritual thing, just kind of like you said, you elevated yourself. You said that one day you could play jazz and these guys were like, oh shit, you don't suck anymore.
Well, I worked my ass off
Yeah,
at that where I could
right.
do it, and I still don't think I'm any good because you're always holding the great players
Yeah,
up
he's
that
a
you're
horrible
looking
player.
toward. There was a guy in Houston named Mike Nace, and Mike Wheeler and all us guys, good guitar players, all the good jazz guitar players in Houston, we all used to go hang around with Mike Nace, and
That's
put
Brennan.
us. That's Brennan's father.
dad.
Brennan Nace's, fantastic.
Badass guy,
musician.
badass bass player, amazing me. We'll talk
Mike
about
Nace
Brennan
was
later.
1,000 light years ahead of all of us, and still is.
So basically, he was
unbelievable.
He was a Jedi master, and everybody else was just,
Yes. Yeah, and he never made a record, and he never went to New York, and he never cared about any of that. He just did the local gigs that he did, and
he was legendary.
And his wife inherited a pecan farm in Gatesville, and he'd hang around and just play jazz guitar, and we'd go over there, and he could. They'd play till the sun come up. He and Brendan would play. I would just pass out. I couldn't keep up with him.
Right.
And he would never repeat himself. He could play for hours and hours and hours.
And everything would be different.
Never repeat a single thing. If you went and saw him for 5 gigs in a row, he sounded like 5 completely different guitarists. I could just picture him on the way to a gig. He's driving to a gig. Well, let's see. I think tonight I'd like to investigate, shapes like this.
Eric, let me ask you, because we
The next
definitely
gig, he thinks, I think I'm going to work on these chord changes like that. And then next thing, it's like, I'm going to do diminished things.
it's like a jigsaw puzzle in my head.
But he'd make them work over tunes,
Everybody here and tear it up. Brother, I'm gonna step away, and I'm gonna let you do about 7 minutes.
27-minute thing?
Well, let's see if I answered the question properly. Well, I did want to give a shout out to Mike Nace, you know, and the idea of like, you know,
And
being
Brennan,
good.
cool cat.
You know, I mean, the idea of, you know, and you see that, you know.
His girlfriend is a good singer too. Really sweet lady. Stephanie?
Yeah, Stephanie.
Is it Stephanie? Shout out Stephanie.
You hear a lot of stuff, you know, in the music world about ego and about, you know, who's good, who's the best, you know, and you have all this kind of stuff going on.
Well, I've seen y'all banter back and forth on Facebook sometimes. It's like something funny.
You know, but I wonder, how can anyone who's a serious player ever think they're any good? Because there's always some Mike Nace that they know about who's like, oh no, I mean, I was just like,
why did I even pick up the instrument?
You know, but it's not even the point, because, you know, he shows the way. You know, every time you hang out with him, he show you something that you never thought of before. Like, oh, cool. And I take it home and I play it like crazy for like 3 months. Then I go see him and I say, yeah, there it is. He goes, oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's the thing I showed you. Really good. Oh, well, now that you can play that, check this out. I'm like, oh man, and he just completely take it to their level and blow me away. There's no end to it, you know. So the whole thing about, you know, getting better at music, the whole fun is just growth and getting better, and you're on the path and you're moving towards things. So it is a spiritual thing in a way. I mean, getting great at music, you know, and which means you know, they say that there's only 2 ways you can learn anything. It's by, well, yeah, and you have to do both. One is you have to read a lot, and you have to hang around with people who know more than you do about it. Okay, so in music,
I got it down.
So in music, it's similar. You know, it's like if you really want to get better, well, you have to listen to lots and lots of great music,
right? And
you have to hang out with people who spank your ass. Well, in a nice way, hopefully.
No, you never play against people that are your level, because you never get better.
Yeah,
I always
so if you listen to a lot and you hang out with people that are better than you are, I mean, you're going to get better. You're going to grow. You're going to get better. You know? Now, on the side note, there were these players back. They don't do it this way anymore. But back in the day, you didn't really learn how to play, you know, jazz from going to music school. I mean, I went and studied guitar a little bit.
No, you meant from hanging out with bad cats.
Well, you learn on the bandstand, you know, and you'd be on the bandstand and they call some tune you don't know. You just have to fake it. You just have to, well, yeah, when you got one chorus, you got to listen and you got to grab it. Okay, I got it. And they go, okay, solo. You get to hear it once and now you got a solo. And they run 40 songs on you like that on a night. I mean, your eyes are crossed when you're driving home. Your brain is just like twisted out. It's so difficult, you know. But you know, that's all of us in that generation, Mike. We all learned how to play that way, like on the bandstand playing tunes. But
everybody, I hope you guys are enjoying this deep dive.
But some of these guys on this bandstand were old school. There was a guy named Larry Slazak who was an old school New York City jazz player. He lived in Houston, a tenor player, really good tenor player. And if you're on a big band gig, Larry Slazak's on the gig. A lot of gigs is like Larry's there. Anytime I'd go in a gig and Larry was there, he'd say, and I walk in the room, he'd go, oh no, look who's on guitar tonight. Oh, this gig's gonna suck. I mean, they used to just tell you what they thought back then. They would just like, and he was mean, man. He was so
meaner than you?
Oh, he was really like, he wanted
to learn some of your meanness.
He wanted you to go home and quit playing. He wanted you to go home and say, I'm never gonna play again. He really wanted you to quit. You know, like, oh, please quit. Spare us the noise. You know? But what happened is I was on this went on for years, you know, and I was on this gig one time where, you know, my confidence had come up a lot more. And there's this pianist on this gig. He was playing a Fender Rhodes, an electric piano. And he was another one of those guys who used to just like, oh, that's wrong. No, play this. Oh, what's wrong with you? It's like, oh, he was just tortured for the whole gig, being an asshole, you know. And he's on this gig, and I thought, I'm going to torture this guy. I set my amp up right behind him, because I had gigs. I didn't need them. I wouldn't have to impress anyone. I was playing with the Houston Symphony, and I was doing all these things.
You actually put your amp behind him.
My jazz was working, you know. I had my jazz working. You know, I put my amp right behind him. You know, and when he goes, hey, like, play this chord this way, I'd go, no, you know, I would say, play this chord this way. You know? It's like, no.
Y'all were battling back and forth.
He'd say, no, play this E7 like this. I'd say, no.
No, he was losing his shit.
So I was giving him all these pretty chords, you know.
But he still wants to control.
Yeah. So what happened? He turned the piano up, and I turned my amp up.
Oh, here it
is. It's just like, and it's like he runs out of headroom, and I'm like there. And Larry Slazak's on the gig, and Larry's standing over off to the side, and he's watching this. He's watching
the battle.
He's watching this going on. And during the first break, Larry comes up to me and he says, "Come with me in the bar. I'm gonna buy you a drink." And he takes me to the bar, and he buys me a drink. And he's nice, really nice to me. And he welcomes me into the club.
Because he hates the other guy.
Well, no, it's because I got good enough and showed that I had some
jazz balls.
I had some balls, and I'm playing, you know, and I had some attitude. And he's like, "Oh yeah, right," you know. And so, you know, to answer your question before, which is funny, what's the hardest part? You know, the most challenging thing was also the most rewarding part, because when I did get a recognition. You know, after being treated
from the
so
old
badly,
guard,
after being treated so badly,
you got you were allowed in the club.
They would go, "Here, I'm going to buy you a scotch," you know. And it's
here's
like,
a cigar.
Just like, yeah, here's a cigar. You're one of the cats now. And now, anytime my name comes up around Larry, oh yeah, man, Avinger, yeah, he's great, he's a badass, you know. And it's like,
but in the beginning,
whoa, really? I'm still, you know, I'm still pretty young while this is going on. I'm going like, well, this is great. You know, so
hey guys,
that's the funny answer.
We're going into a deep dive with this amazing player, really cool cat. Real quick, I want to tell a little story. So I was doing some stuff down the dirty South all the way to Jacksonville, Florida, and Eric was nice enough to put me up on my way there and on my way back, and we jammed. We had coffee.
Did we eat or what?
Yeah, we ate, and I even, you know, I'm not saying I raided his icebox, but he had a little treat there, and I'm sure he didn't mind, but it was always cool, man. I really appreciate you letting me lay my head down, and then you took me to that badass
Charles restaurant. We went to Charles restaurant.
Yes, the one that they finally gave it up after they got
Well, they're back now. They get hit by the hurricane, but they're back now. Yeah, we need to go
the
there.
best shrimp. No, we're gonna go to New Orleans. We might just take you with us. Just take you with us.
Crawfish, grits, and oysters on the half shell, and gumbo, and stuffed shrimp the size of your fish. Remember?
Oh,
the size of your fish?
dude, it was amazing. I was it just blew me away. I was had such a good time.
Oh, we need to go there again.
We could, yeah, we're definitely gonna go there, babe. We're planning on going to New Orleans. So enough of me jabbering and that, and it's cool because this guy is super knowledgeable. But I know you guys want to hear this amazing player, so I'm gonna let him cut loose for about 7 minutes. Come back in. We got 20. Altogether, we have about 21 questions. I have a few other things. We got a bunch of really cool stuff up. So tune in, tell your friends about it. Let's rock with Erick Avinger.
I just like to ramble around what I'm doing pretty much, you know.
Good at it.
Sounds amazing. Never know what riff he's going to from one to the next, y'all. Amazing, guys. Totally a treat. We've got some more really good questions with Erick Avinger here. So, okay, here we go. We already did that one. Have you ever had a performance go completely off the rails, and how did you recover?
Yeah, a bunch of those. Let's see.
Oh, well,
Pick one of my favorites. Oh, yeah, I could run through a bunch. I don't know. I can't really pick a favorite. You know, I mean, some gigs, you know, the worst gigs I ever had were in my dreams. Because when I was trying to get better and play all the time, I would always have these dreams where I was on stage, you know, I'm playing, and here's my guitar, and I'd go, and the string would break, and the amp sounded like crap, and it was just like, the spotlight would be there, and it'd be like, I suck. I'm just having these awful dreams where, it was just terrible. You know, I just kept going until one day I had a dream one time where I was on the stage, the spotlight was there, and the amp sounded great, and the guitar was great, and I got up and I just played my ass off in my dream. It's like,
you didn't want to wake up.
But I have had some disaster gigs in my dream since then too.
But
they're worse than anything you get in real life. I mean, the worst things you get in real life are just working in a band with people that just aren't very good, but who aren't nice.
Right.
That's the worst. You have a band leader who just isn't any good.
And he's a dick.
But you can't please them, and maybe you don't get paid, you know, you don't get paid too. That's the worst kind of gig.
Yeah, there's a lot of dicks out there.
You try to do not a lot, you know.
Enough.
In the jazz world, not. I mean, everyone's really sweet in the jazz world. You always get paid, not much, but everyone's friendly. Nobody's stabbing each other in the back much, you know. Houston's really friendly. It's a whole bunch of people who did practice their asses off to get good at music. And so we all have this kind of club. I call it the Woodshed Club.
Right.
So even if I don't like your playing, and even if I don't really like you, I respect you because I know you busted your ass and practiced 10,000 hours, or you wouldn't even be on the bandstand.
To get to where you are.
You wouldn't even be on the bandstand with me if you hadn't practiced, you know. So yeah, that's nice. I like that, you know.
This is another good one. It's a little long. It's got a couple of pieces to it, but I'm going to go and fire away here. What does a typical Erick Avinger songwriting session look like? Coffee, chaos, or both?
Songwriting. You mean like well, you and I put that song together. What was it like for you? There was coffee. There was a little chaos.
Okay.
Well, you fought with me because I said, "Well, this song needs a bridge," and you said, "No, it doesn't." So you fought with me on it. But I made you write a bridge for it. It was great, you know. So
okay, this is the second half of that question. When you sit down to write or create, what usually comes first? Lyrics, melody, or rhythm?
That's a great question, you know, because songwriters sometimes the melody comes first, sometimes it's the rhythm, sometimes it's this. You know,
that's the second part of that question.
You'll get like an idea, you know, and you know, when I was writing, I would have something I can't really get any writing done unless I'm writing for something specific, like for someone. If I write a song for someone,
Regimented,
you know,
it's.
Well, not regimented.
Or is it like a job description?
No, it's like a feeling. I have a feeling of a song I want to write for someone, about someone, you know. I had a girlfriend one time, and she said, I want you to write a song about this guy that she cared about who was messed up, you know. And so I wrote this beautiful song, you know, called The Mother Song. The idea for healing. But, you know, if I write something, I might think, well, why? If someone calls me up and pays me, oh yeah, all right, what do you want me to write for? You know, and Stravinsky, the famous composer, also said, "There's no reason to ever write except for money." Are you kidding? You know, that's what he said. Oh, well, I remember I used to write some things, you know, when I was younger because I didn't know if I could. It's like, well, let me see if I can write something and see what comes out. You know, and so I would just take something that I thought was interesting. You know, like there's a tune I wrote and I said like. Scale called harmonic minor.
I was wondering,
And then you had, and if you take that scale, there's different chords that happen on it. I thought, well, I'll write a tune using only those kind of chords. So I go with
very melodic.
It's like, whoa, that was really pretty. So in that case, I thought, well, I just made an exercise for myself. I said, well, I'll just use the chords in that one scale. But then I came up with beautiful things. Went, oh, that's kind of nice. And so the way I like to write really is just to kind of go around and see what I can find and see if I find something I think.
Well, it sounds like you don't limit yourself.
You know?
That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, it's funny because it's both, you know. I mean, I don't limit myself, but at the same time, see, that was a limitation. I'm saying I'm going to limit myself to this scale.
Right.
I can only use the notes. I can only use these 7 notes. I can put different bass notes with it. But once you have a limitation, then you're free, and that's what all the composers say too. They say that your freedom comes from defining your limitations. You define your boundary of what you're going to work with, you know, and then you're free. Because if you don't have any boundary, it's like having the canvas.
No structure.
It's like, well, I'll paint the ceiling and the floor and the walls, and I'll just
You're all over the
I'll
place.
just throw it. It's like, well,
Abstract.
Here's the canvas. Here's how big the work is, and if it's a smaller work, then you're doing fine, detailed things.
Right.
But if it's a whole wall, you know, like a Jackson Pollock, I'll just throw paint at this huge thing. You know?
Well, we have a friend named Gary Murphy. He's an abstract artist and really great stuff. This kind of reminds me of that when you said Jackson Pollock, because it's an abstract guy. Like, it's crazy that he get $1 million for a picture, $5 million. We got one more question. Now I think I guys told you earlier. He plays the flute, but not a steel flute, not a wooden flute. He plays exclusive bamboo flute. But yeah, go ahead.
You wanna hear
But
the
before
flute?
you do that, I'm gonna, as you're getting ready for that,
I got one more question, and I like this one. I like this one. So, before he starts off, you guys are in for a treat. So, also too, I want to let you know, if you're looking for a world-class producer, he's not just an amazing guitar player and flute player, and he can actually play all of the instruments.
Oh, that's all I ever do is make records.
Yeah. I mean, he's a
really,
studio, but I'm just saying, if
it's
you want
to come out here and play,
if you want to elevate your music to another level, and you want a world-class producer that'll work with you, he's very reasonable. And the way I look at it is, not only are you getting a wicked producer, but if it has anything to have rock guitar on it or something, this is the guy.
I like to make something as good as I can make it. So if people don't often want to do their best and make something the best they can make, it's just like, oh, we'll just make this and we'll just put it out. You know, it's just like, yeah. But if someone wants to really try to make something good, I'll try to make something. I'll try to do your best.
No, I understand.
And that's why I don't make that many records.
No, what it is you have what's called a sense of pride. You're not going to let anything out that's making.
Well, it's hard to do your best, you know, because
right.
so many people are so adapted to just kind of, you know.
Yeah, and we got a good little story about the song you did for me. We almost came to blows. We'll talk about that later. You know, it's a great story.
Yeah.
I threatened to eat them and put them on a Ritz cracker, but we'll talk about that later. Okay.
Okay. Let me get a little buzzer going here.
Yeah, but let me go ahead and ask you this one here, buddy.
Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
Do you have a weird or unique pre-show ritual?
No.
Okay. Fair enough, guys.
Well, if I did have one, it would be to empty my mind completely and have no idea whatsoever of what I'm going to play before I play it, or to have an idea how to start a solo or this or that. It's just I want to completely.
So that's ritual-ish. Sort of.
Like
I mean,
you know, so when the music starts, as soon as I hear something, then I hear ideas to play. You know. I mean, that's the way I like to do it.
So while I've got you here, Seth, do you have a guy, a flute master, the same way they have samurai sword?
Well, I'll give you the quick version on it. This is called a bansuri, Bansuri, in Hindu.
Oh, okay.
It means sounding bamboo.
Are they made in India or
the tradition and the music that you play with these instruments is all Indian. This particular one is made by a Western.
And are those minor scales?
They will play all 12 notes, so you can play anything on them. But the tricky thing with them is that they only have 6 holes, but to get you have 12 notes.
Right.
So to get the other 12 notes, you have to half the hole.
Oh.
So it's like bending a string on a guitar,
Jesus
sort of.
Christ.
But you have to bend it in tune, which is why they're so hard to play.
Good.
You know. Well, you know, if they're not in tune, then they're like, you know, they're not great. But you can play all kinds of crazy stuff on them. And you think, oh, it's just a bamboo flute. It's like getting a good one of these things. I mean, a good maker will go through 1,000 pieces of bamboo
almost like a samurai
before
sword
he grabs
maker.
one and goes, oh, this one will make a
Dude,
flute.
you're talking just like a guy, a master sword maker.
It's
You're
the
not talking any different.
Same thing, you know. And
Samurai bamboo player.
And this is a really good flute, but it's not a great flute. You know, I can't get the great ones. If I was a great player, then someone would give me a great flute. But I go say, hey man, can I get a great flute? They say, well, who are you? I'm saving this for some great player. They have them in the back and you can't get them. So it's the hardest instrument to get a good instrument.
Oh my God.
I mean, with the violins, you can just come up with $1 million.
So the other ones that you have, are they like different thickness, different tone, different?
This right here is pitched in the key of E, just like a guitar, you know.
Right.
So if you pay.
Because I know I see you walk around with about 2 or 3 flutes.
If you play that, it's giving you an E.
I hear that.
But if I want an F flute, I have to pick up a different flute, and then now that note gives me F. And so you have a different flute for every key, is what
you don't
have.
play harmonica, do you?
No.
Hamilton is really good at that, and Kim can play the harmonica.
But I have several E's by different makers, you know, and I have several different pitches. So, you know, if I go on some gig and they say, well, this song's in A flat, I can find some flute that I can, you know, get around. And, you know, I can make it work. I can, you know.
Well, hey guys, because we're doing this deep dive and we're going to go back to guitar and flute, y'all guys hang in there, tell your friends, chime in, let's rock with Erick Avinger, flute, samurai.
I'll just play a little bit of this for you, okay?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I haven't been playing a lot lately, and it's the thing too. You know, you got to play them every day to, you know, to really, you know, make the sound and the vibe. You know, and so I'll just kind of.
He's going to give you a 5-minute spot.
If that, you know, I'll just kind of give you a little something.
All right.
That's a drone that they use.
I'm going to sit here for that.
Which is a 5/1. So since there's no chords, they have, you know, so then you can hear what the notes are.
Man, that is so beautiful. It's almost hypnotic.
Pretty cool axe.
I'm
Pretty
telling
cool
you.
axe, isn't it? It's really.
Well, no, I hate to say it, but when I see that, I always think about those Indian guys sitting there and hundreds of people, and there's a basket, and then they start playing the flute, and a king cobra comes out and starts dancing with the flute player. No, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And one's not even a flute; it's like a
Well, it's
Red
interesting.
recorder.
Since there's no keys on the instrument, it makes it harder to play in all 12
Right.
keys. But since there's no keys, it means you're actually just playing a column of air,
Yeah.
and then the bamboo just disappears. You know, so you can do those sweeps. You know, where there's
We'll keep
Like-
holding on to that.
you can like a slide on a
Right,
string.
right.
You know, which is although I must say all that stuff's really hard. It's a really hard instrument.
Yeah.
That's why almost nobody plays them.
Right. Plays them well.
I made up my mind that I wanted to play bamboo flute in my 40s.
Right. Wow.
And I've been playing it
Well, guys, we're
20
keeping.
something years now, I guess. You know.
No, it sounds amazing. It's such a sweet, peaceful instrument. It's almost like I'm walking through a Japanese garden.
You know, the same thing happened to me on Bond Street when I was playing it. People said, you know, you suck. You'll never be any good. You're crap. I went through the same thing. I thought, well, I know what this is. I'll be okay the second time because I went through this on the guitar. And it's like, no, it's even worse the second time. It's like, you know, because I'm used to being recognized. And I have records out, you know, and I was an internationally released artist, you know, for a while in the 80s and all that. And now, you suck. You'll never be any good. You know, I did the same thing on Bond Street until I didn't anymore, until I started sounding good.
Yeah.
I just kept at it until I sounded good. And now the Indians go, oh, you sound just like an Indian, oh, which is like the great, compliment,
He's Indian from the waist down. Who knows? I don't know.
No, I think I just pretend I'm playing electric guitar when I'm bending strings. I'm just thinking,
Oh, it's like a flute guitar.
that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
It's really not,
you.
it's more like a horn than a flute to me,
Right, right.
where you're, or a guitar where you're bending the notes. Like,
That's crazy.
there's this one rag that sounds like a blues too. You can go.
It looks easy, but it's not. Don't take up the flute.
So that's like a nasty blues you can sort of do on it.
Hold on to that because I'm digging all that and all the vibes that are coming from it. It's so natural and pure and a lot of emotional content. We're about halfway through these questions and we're just having such a great time with you, Eric. Thank you again for being a guest on my new podcast. We're only 2.5 months old, but we're doing a bunch of great things. I want to ask you this way. How do you, and this is perfect too for replaying this, how do you keep things fresh and avoid getting stuck in a creative rut?
Yeah, that's a really great question. There's really no, I'll say it the way that I would say it to students that come to me that are stuck in a rut. I'd say there's really no reason to be stuck in a rut when you can always look back to the past, to the great master players, and go steal something from them. Go back and, it's like, go listen to a Wes Montgomery record until you hear
Or
something
Joe
you like.
Pass.
Or Joe Pass, and find one thing he plays that you like, and slow it down on your computer or tape.
And make it yours.
Yeah, we used to slow stuff down on the 33 RPM record. We put it on 16 and drop the needle down and wait for it to come and try to steal that lick. And then we had a tape recorder. We could slow it down and hit rewind, and try. But now you can just get your computer up. It'll take the speed down and keep the same pitch. You can just go repeat. And it's like, it's so much easier. It's so much easier to do. But it's just like in a rut. Why aren't you? What are you working on this week? What are you learning? What are you learning?
Yeah, you're always pushing yourself.
I'm in a rut, meaning what? But you don't want to learn anything.
You're not pushing yourself.
There's a bunch of great answers to that question, though. Like if you're in a rut, you can do the opposite of what you think you want to do. Because everybody wants to play fast, right?
Well, he's gonna play some more flute. We're hanging out with the deep dive with Erick Avinger.
Everybody wants to play fast all the time.
But
if you're in a rut, what I like to do is go. Let's see, I'm gonna pick a chord to play over. How about I'll just do E7. Isn't that pretty?
it's very sweet.
Anymore.
You're out of that rut.
I'm just playing really slow and getting a pretty sound. I think it's a pretty sound. I mean, if I think it's a pretty sound, then I'm not in a rut. It sounds too beautiful to be in a rut. So yeah,
You're rutless.
It's an interesting thing, because if you're in a rut, then you're just playing too many gigs. Maybe you're going. Like that, every night, I'm in a rut.
It's a beautiful rut. I'm just saying. Almost like a harp.
It is.
The way you play.
If you think about
so
it,
beautiful.
that's funny you mention that. According to fact, there's only 3 kinds of instruments. There's only the flute, and the drum, and the lyre.
The lyre.
Which is a harp.
Oh. It's called a lyre?
Yeah, Lyre.
Crazy.
It's an ancient instruments. Ancient flutes, ancient drums.
They're not called harps, they're called lyres.
And lyres. But look what the guitar is. It's a fretted lyre. It's a fretted harp. It is a harp. You know, it just has strings on it. It's
An electric harp.
like a violin is a bowed harp.
Right.
Right? It's like, oh, right. So it's funny if you think like it's a harp, and then they can make you play it differently.
Well, I'll never forget the first time I heard Jimmy Page use a bow on his guitar, and I was like, I mean, he was the first guy. I mean, he might have not been the first one, but he was the first mainstream artist that dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Oh my gosh. Oh, all right. This is a great question, y'all. I love this. Is a really, really good question.
Oh, I've got some kind of.
We're having some technical
I've got some
difficulties.
There's dirty electricity in the
Yes,
neighborhood.
That's right.
Here we go.
So, if you could put together a dream show lineup with you headlining, who else is on the bill? If you could put together a dream show lineup with you headlining, who would be on the bill?
Well, I think all these great players, you know, that would be the greatest players, but they wouldn't necessarily have that much fun playing with me. They're
Right.
too good, you know. So I mean, I want to play with my friends, but I want to play with my friends that play really good.
Well, it's a dream. It's a dream.
So I had this group in Austin some years ago. There's a record out with some live stuff of that, and there's this keyboard player named Doug Hall, who's the best pianist I ever played with or ever heard. And he loved to play with me for some weird reason. And the drummer was this guy named John Mambo Trainer, who's a legendary drummer from Austin.
Mambo Trainer?
Mambo, and he was a wild man on the drums. He was just like
Keith Moon.
he was like hot, like Keith Moon jazz, like high energy, you know. And Steven Zirkel was the bass player, and he could reharmonize your songs on the spot and pick up a trumpet and blow a trumpet and play bass at the same time. I mean, these guys were just like, and
Sound like you're talking about some superheroes.
Oh, and we were doing all my tunes. We were doing my tunes, you know. And it's like, I'm the only one left alive. So if I could have my dream band again of anybody I wanted, I would put that band together.
What were your pals' names again?
Doug Hall was the pianist, like Keith Jarrett level quality pianist.
Was that, were you in Austin, or was that here in Houston?
Austin. These are all Austin guys.
Okay. And who are the other cats?
John Mambo Trainer, T-R.
Crazy last name.
E-A-N-E-R, I think, John Trainer.
And who else?
Steven Zirkel, who just passed away last year.
And
Or was it this year? It might have been this. It was pretty recent.
Wow. Well, that's great. So, was it one record or a couple of records, or was it
I've got one record with those guys playing live.
How many songs?
Actually, half the record is in the studio, and the other half is playing live. So maybe only 3 live ones.
So
Some of them are long. A couple of them are long. You know.
10 songs? Do you know how many long?
On the whole record?
On the whole record.
Oh, well, like half the record is not with those guys. It's just in the studio. And the other half is just that band live.
Okay, we got another question here. Then we're going to take another. I'm going to take another chill, man. Get back and let it all be about this guy.
You know, you're going to talk for a while, and I'm going to go have a smoke break.
All right, okay. That's what we're going to do.
Maybe I should play some blues.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we take a little break after you do a little number? Let me ask you this last question, and then we'll take a little break. Okay. All right. This is a really good one. How do you stay inspired and avoid creative burnout? I mean, that's almost, we kind of went over that a little bit, but
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of
direct.
tricks. There's a whole bunch of tricks. You know, if anytime I really want to get inspired and get my focus on doing something, all I have to do is pick one of these. Well, they're not jazz tunes. I mean, I don't know what you call them. There's this
Fusion?
There's this body of work that they call the Great American Songbook. It's all the greatest songs ever written by the greatest songwriters who ever lived, somewhere between the late 1930s and 1960. So you have Duke Ellington. You know, that's also where the greatest guitar solos came from. You know, Wes Montgomery, Charlie Christian, the first guy to ever take an electric guitar solo, and the tunes that those guys played, you know. And Duke Ellington has these songs that were written by his chief arranger, Billy Strayhorn, that are just, they're genius. and they're like, the chords are moving all through all these different keys and stuff like that, you know. You have
seamlessly, right? Smooth.
chords you wouldn't normally hear. You have like, oh, isn't that pretty?
Gorgeous. Supermodel of chords.
Or chords like this.
I got a question that I think I know the answer to.
So I can take a song like that and spend hours and hours just playing over it.
We're doing standard tune. I'm not even gonna ask him to play this guitar because I'm nervous. So like legendary. Hey guys, I'm gonna ask him one more question. He's gonna take a break. I'm gonna tell you about a few shows that
See,
are
that
coming
answers
up.
your question. How am I going to get into a rut when I'm trying to play this tune and the chords are so pretty and it's like, I suck. I'm just trying to get better at it, right?
Let me ask him one more question. He's gonna take a break, a very, very short break, because as long-winded as I am, I've only got a little bit of material. So he's gonna take a little break.
I have faith in you, Alex.
Well, thank you. I'm glad somebody does. And my military grade girlfriend, thank you. So, I think this is kind of going, once again, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not sure. Do you prefer writing solo or collaborating with other musicians?
I don't really write that much at all, but it's a funny answer. If I'm playing jazz with other jazz musicians, we all collectively know those songs, so we don't have to rehearse them because everybody knows those tunes, and we're collectively creating on them together, which is what jazz improvisation is.
Right.
We don't have to sit down with a pencil and a pad and like write some pop songs with some words. We just take these songs and we're just like having a musical conversation, you know.
Right.
We know, playing back and forth and listening. And that's the draw of jazz, really, because it certainly isn't money. You know, it never has paid much money or anything. But people that play that music are like, wow, they're having a conversation in higher mind. You know, where it's like if someone plays, I can hear ba-ya-boo-bo-bo. I mean, anything you play, I can hear.
Right.
And if I can hear it, you can play it.
Right.
And so you have these people that, it's all ears, you know. Everyone's in this world of hearing and music and stuff. And it's just like the ultimate drug or something like that, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it's very attractive. And it's healthy, it's good for you. Well,
Well,
it's not good for your career, but it's good for your soul.
It's good to have a good so. Guys, stick around. He's going to take a little smoke break. I got a few shows I can tell you about. And
Yeah, tell them about the shows, man.
yeah, I've got some really cool shows coming up. We are going to be at the Pasadena Pasadena Fairgrounds tomorrow with the one and only Bill Manspeaker, who is of the band Green Jelly. They're celebrating 30 years of Three Little Pigs. The band actually used to be called Green Jello. They got sued by Jello, then they changed it to Green Jelly, and like I said, they've got that song Three Little Pigs, and he will be there signing autographs. I'm not sure, I don't think the band is playing, but he's going to be there at this really cool event tomorrow. We're going to be doing a podcast with him at the Cultural Shock Expo. That's going to be tomorrow. We're going to get there about noon, do a little bit of not a big deep dive with Bill Manspeaker, but we're going to be there. We'll be promoting the events. Again, I want to also tell you that every Thursday I have a show out of Conroe, Texas called Texas Songwriters Alliance Audio Impact, and we play every Thursday at 7 o'clock. And then Saturday, it just played. We have a really cool tape show, me and my little brother Jay Amshurmi, called Rock the Rage Radio Show. And it's every Saturday at 7 p.m. Please go check that out. Keep supporting. Like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Let's Rock with Alex Lozano. We're on Facebook, Instagram. Please support us. We got more Erick Avinger coming up. We're going to Kimberly is going to make us an amazing meal. We're going to have pistachio crusted chicken with bacon wrapped asparagus. And again, I can't thank my incredible girlfriend Kimberly for believing in me. Also, really great news. Next week, I'm going to go visit a good friend of mine who's been in a band for years when I first started back in 1994 at Millennium. And next Saturday morning, we are on our way to Austin to go have an interview. And he's going to play a few songs for us. That's Cole Steinfeld. He is of the band Revolution. Big shout out to Kareem, his guitar player. He owns a really awesome studio called Magic Studios right next to Guitar Center on the north side. World-class bass player, Bobby Fikes. Love you, Bobby. Vicky, big shout out. And hopefully Eric will be coming here from his cigarette break. But yeah, keep supporting local music. As always, I'm fueled by God, making the music matter. Thank you guys for tuning in. And please, if you want to be on my podcast or any of my radio shows, just reach out, and we really, really want you guys to keep supporting us. We are leaving to follow the O-Ray Band. Also go check out the O-Ray Band, my buddy O-Ray Phillips, Lynn, and those guys are just amazing. They're going to be going to Los Angeles. We're going to be at the Whiskey A Go-Go October the 21st. So, yeah, just please tune in. Thank God Erick Avinger is going to be coming back real soon. Where'd you find? Where's he at, baby?
He's outside.
Oh, okay.
So if you'd like, we can come back. We'll take a break and we'll start the live again.
Yeah, let's do that. We're going to take a break. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be back in about 5-10 minutes.